Today I'm going to share with you quick garden cottage DIYs. I have some wall art, a wreath, and some decor to celebrate Easter. Welcome to my channel, Freckled Mom DIY. I'm Devin. If you're new, welcome. And if you're returning, hey! This is a playlist around the world for Easter, and there's a giveaway, which I'll explain in a bit. So let's hop right into these DIYs. This DIY was so quick and adorable. So I have a Dollar Tree sign here and a calendar, and I picked the bunny, and I think this is so sweet. I wasn't sure if it was going to be see-through, so I went through, I flipped over this board, and I started with the back, and I just do 2 coats in this color from Waverly, which is a plaid product, and this is the color Maize. Once it dried, I went over and gave it a really good coat of Mod Podge. Now again, this is very simple, guys. So after I go through with this Mod Podge, I make sure there is a lot there, and I just lay this calendar page right down. Again, I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to see through it at all, so that's why I did that yellow on the bottom. I do use my roller, and I smooth out any of the air bubbles. And I think this is such a simple project to do with Dollar Tree items. So here's my little hand sander. I just get at Ace Hardware, and I'm sanding down away from the paper, and then it just comes right off. And you can do this with paper or fabric. This is so simple, and it makes a nice clean edge. So I'm just doing this all around this round sign. And I do add a little ribbon at the top, which is not seen, but it's just a Dollar Tree ribbon that I have. So I do go through and I give it another coat of Mod Podge just to seal it in. You could use spray Mod Podge, but I had this Mod Podge out already. So there's the ribbon at the top. I just looped it through, and now I'm going through with my hot glue gun and some baby's breath, and I'm just adding in wherever I think it needs a little something something. So I do have these little yellow flowers I have done with previous projects. These are just my leftover florals, and I just wanted to add a little something to the top of this. I think this is super sweet, super easy, and definitely something you can do for any season and any holiday. Those Dollar Tree calendars are amazing. The pictures are beautiful. So now I wanted to add in a little bit more of that yellow because it didn't show through, which I thought it was. So I really wanted it just to be finished a little bit more. So I just dry brushed it right around the edge, and that way it looked a little more uniform and, you know, a little more special. I think this is so adorable and obviously very easy. Anyone can do this, and I just love it so much, and this is just so sweet for Easter. So here is a wreath, and again, this is very, very simple. So here is a little Club Couture transfer that I am just cutting up, and I'm using a little bit of this and that. So here is a Dollar Tree board. We're going to be using that. So I want to take this heart off. I am going to only be using one side for this wreath. I get these at Walmart. There's 3 sizes. So I'm just figuring out which is going to be the best size for my wreath. And then I am cutting up some scrapbook paper, and we are going to Mod Podge the paper right to this Dollar Tree board. So this is the back because it did have that little heart, and you could kind of tell it was a little raised. So I just use it as a back, and I wanted, it's going to go on a door. So I wanted to make sure from both sides that you don't see that this was a Dollar Tree frame. So I'm just doing the front now, some Mod Podge, and then I put that paper back down. I got this paper in one of those packages from Michael's, the Hot Buys. And then I'm doing that same thing I did on that other project, where I just sand down against the paper to get that nice uniform edge. And then I do another coat of Mod Podge just to seal it in. Now I do go around with my coral, and I am just painting on the edge just to give it that finished look. And now I also felt like it needed a little something something, so I went through and I dry brushed that same coral right around the edge. And I think it's very sweet and it's not too much, but I like using this other color. I really didn't want to have that antique feel, so that's why I chose that coral. So I am going through with my clear wax. This is for the Club Couture, so you do want to protect your surface. And this color is my Chalkology Paste and Shimmer Plum. So I just cut this out. This is from the transfer Come On In, which I will put down in my description. But I defuzzed it a few times because it was brand new. And then I lay it out, I smooth it out. And now I'm going through, I just put a little bit of paste on my squeegee. So we do not use paintbrushes or paint. We use paste and squeegees. And this is a silk screen transfer. And this just makes it super easy and quick and reduces bleed through. So then I just peel it up and it looks perfect. So I'm going to use a portion of this one. So I did not want the entire thing. So I just laid it down where I wanted it. And I do the same thing with my squeegee. I just put on a little bit of paste and then I squeegee off the excess and I put it back in my jar to save it, and then I peel it up. And that's it, guys. So I am now going to add this to the wreath. And I had a few ideas, but I wasn't sure how I could put this on and really have that stability. So first I went through with my hot glue, and I did for the entire wreath, and this is going to be on the back, so you're really not going to see it, but you might see it a little bit because it's a see-through door. So I'm trying to make it as not as ugly as possible. So here is a little bit of tape, and this is just to give it a little more security. I decided to go through with a very neutral color so it wasn't as noticeable. And now it is here. I feel like we need some more. So I have this floral wreath here that I have taken apart and used multiple times. So I got this from Michael's and we used it last year for Amy's graduation cap. And I've still been picking off, and I still have half of a wreath left. So it definitely goes a long way. So I kept it long so that way I could bend it the way I wanted it, and then I hot glued it right down. Again, this is the back of that wood board that we have already chalked on. So now you can see it is going up the side. I think it looks very sweet. And so I'm just trying to figure out now the other flowers. I really wanted it to have this whimsical spring, Easter feeling for, you know, new life, new beginnings, that feeling that you get when Easter comes and spring is here. And so I am just going through and I'm hot gluing to the back of my board again. And again, this is just for that whimsical feel. I didn't want it to be overpowering because I really wanted those words to stand out. So I do want to make this go up on my wreath. So I have some gold wire here, and I'm just going to clip off how much I need, and I'm just going to wrap the wreath and the flowers with that gold, and then I'm just going to trim it off, and that way it goes up and it looks like it's crawling up the wreath. I thought that would look really nice, and of course it did. It's super adorable. Let me know if you make this wreath. Tag me on Instagram or send me a picture. I would love to see if you try this. Now I feel like it was a little empty, so I did go and grab my Sola wood flowers, and I'm just hot gluing them right to the edge of the board. I am so in love with this. I just love these colors. I think it is very sweet, and it's not overpowering, but it still has those pops of color in it. So everything that I use today is down in my description, but I am so in love with this, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Would you have done a different saying? Would you have done a different color or different flowers? I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments. We do have a couple more DIYs today, but I do want to briefly explain this open playlist real quick. This is a playlist around the world for Easter with a bunch of my friends and some new creators I haven't worked with yet. And we all have a secret word. There are 4 giveaways, 3 $50 Amazon gift cards, and 1 Easter basket. As always, thank you to CJ for putting everything together. To enter the giveaway, listen for the secret word each creator gives and comment on all the videos. 4 names will be selected on Sunday, March 26. Follow along the playlist down in my description. I think these eggs are super cottagey and super adorable. So these are foam eggs from the Dollar Tree and some tissue paper from Tim Holtz, which I get off of Amazon. So I do a nice thick coat of Mod Podge and then I lay that paper down and I smooth it out. I love this paper. I've used it for so many projects. It is just so pretty. You do want to take your time because it is a very fragile tissue paper, but it really does work pretty good with your fingers when you're trying to smooth it out. And then you do another coat of Mod Podge just to seal it in. And I let these dry for like 20 minutes. It is a pretty quick dry. You can also use your heat gun at a very low setting if you are in a time crunch. I just love this paper so much. I feel like it really goes well with my garden cottage style that I'm doing this year. I think it is very sweet. You could even say it's a little shabby chic. So I did make 6 eggs, but 3 of them are going to have a little embellishment here. So I got these molds at Michael's and I am just filling it up with some hot glue. You could use a little bit of plaster or some kind of modeling clay. I like using the hot glue because it dries very quick. And then you just pop them right out and they're ready to paint. So spray paint is really good for these, but you can also use just regular paint and a brush. So I'm just cleaning up the edges, getting off any scragglies and anything that's hanging off, and I'm going through with that maze and I'm just painting the entire flower here. Now I take a little bit of hot glue and I'm going to put these right onto the eggs just to give it a little embellishment, a little something something. Now you could also use some kind of maybe like fake jewelry or just something to embellish these. I think these are nice because they're very rubbery, so you can kind of mold it to the egg. And hot glue works just fine because these are dry now from that Mod Podge that we sealed it with. Now I just do a quick little dry brushing over the flower with my antique wax just to give it that little vintage feel that you guys know I love. And I have some Spanish moss here and half of an egg carton, and I'm just going to fill up these little egg cartons with the Spanish moss just to make it look a little more realistic. I also added a little bit of the green moss from Dollar Tree and I just sprinkled it on in there. I just wanted a little extra color. So I'm just sticking the eggs where I think they look nice, and then I'm going to hot glue them right into this little egg crate. You don't have to hot glue these in. You could just place them in there and let them fall where they are, except in my house with the dogs running and cats swatting at things, those eggs could go missing very quickly. So I just hot glued them in. That way they're not going anywhere. And then I added a little bit of extra Spanish moss right over the top just to give it a little something something and add that little vintage flair to it, that little cottage feel. And then I just cut off the edges, anything that's hanging down with my scissors. And that is it. I am so in love with this. I think this is so sweet and I am so excited to style my dining room with this. I cannot wait for Easter. I know it is a little bit away, but I'm really excited and I can't wait for it all to come together and share with my family and my friends. If you're new or coming over from the playlist, welcome. Here on Freckled Mom DIY, we are renovating and styling our 1925-year-old New England cottage. We do home improvement, Dollar Tree crafts, gifts and decor, thrift flipping, and more. If you like these kinds of videos, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you to all my current Freckled fam. You can also find me on Instagram as Freckled Mom. You know I love my book stacks, and this is a book stack from Dollar Tree and some Waverly Ink paint. So I found this calendar at Dollar Tree, and it had an extra little mini calendar, which I'm going to save for springtime or maybe summer. But I'm in love with this flowered calendar. I love these pieces of paper that I cut out to fit around this book stack. So I give it a nice good coverage of Mod Podge, and then I put that paper down and I smooth it out with my fingers, and then I use my roller. But it is a book stack, so I have my little tool here from Dollar Tree, and I'm just scoring the book ends, and so I think it's really sweet. And then I just did that same thing where I push down with my sandpaper to get the extra paper off. I just think this is the best way to get a nice clean edge. And then we are going to just clean it up as best we can, and we're going to do all the sides first. So here's my little vacuum. It is super handy. You can get it in my Amazon store. So I did paint this black. I'm not sure what I was planning on doing with it, but it works fine with this paper. It's not see-through. So we're doing another layer of Mod Podge and laying the paper down. You could do this with newspaper, magazine paper, Dollar Tree calendars, thick paper, cardstock paper, tissues. I mean, you really can do this with so many different fabrics or paper. You definitely want to use a fine grit sandpaper so you don't sand away your actual project and the paint that's underneath. So this roller that I use, I also get off of Amazon, and it's made by Plaid, but there are other companies that make rollers like that. And that little scoring tool, again, I got that in the Dollar Tree craft section. So you do want to make sure that you sand all the edges down really good before you do another coat of Mod Podge. Now I'm using the Mod Podge with a brush, but you can also use spray Mod Podge if that makes it easier for you. So here are the Shine Bright minis from Club Couture, and I'm just cutting out the one I want to use. This one is Step Into the Light, and so I am going through with my clear wax again. This is so I don't peel up any of that paper. I do defuzz it a couple of times before I lay it down. So we're going to pretend this is a book, and we're going to put the words on our bookend. So I'm just going through, and I'm using my multi-tool, which is a little bit smaller for these little small letters, and this is Chalkology paste in the color Storm. So after you squeegee it on, you just peel it up, and anything that is lifted up or not all the way down, I am going to fix after. So I am smoothing it out the best I can, but because this is a little ridgy, some of it didn't go all the way through, if that makes sense. If I was to do this over again, I probably wouldn't have had the leaf here, or I would have chose a different color because you really couldn't see it all the way. And then I do go through and do those little touch-ups just to finalize this. I added a little twine, and that is it. I think this is so pretty. And I really do like this color Storm. I just wish that that leaf wasn't right there, but I guess lesson learned. I think this came out so sweet and so Garden Cottage for Easter. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. Don't forget, this was a playlist with a bunch of my friends and a giveaway. For the full rules, head down to my description. Also down in my description is the supplies I used and my Amazon store link, as well as links to my Club Couture products that I used today. I would love to connect with you over on social media, and you can find me on Instagram as Freckled Mom. Reach out if you need some Club Couture products or would like to join my team. March is a great month to get started as you get these cute bird add-ons for free, making the designer kit worth $280 for $99. Send me a message for more information. Keep crafting and have a wonderful day.